Well, he's the next man on the list scheduled to die in Tennessee. Gary Sutton has been on death row now for 33 years, accused of a vicious double murder in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains.
Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier has been looking into this case for nearly 2 years now, essentially investigating calls that, or I should say, questions that call Sutton's guilt into question.
This Smoky Mountains case is so full of holes you wonder how they ever got a conviction. Now the fate of Gary Sutton, 33 years later, sits on the governor's desk. Carolyn Miller was young and in love with Gary Sutton. She still remembers the day he was arrested for murdering his best friend Tommy Griffin with a shotgun and then burning Griffin's sister alive in her car. Miller said they thought the charges would be dropped after they realized Gary had nothing to do with it.
We didn't have money for the right attorneys, the right investigators, and you don't think that you're going to be put in prison for something you know you didn't do, and on the backside of it, they know he didn't do it.
Sutton and his uncle James Dillinger were convicted and given the death penalty, even though the detective who promised 3 eyewitnesses provided none.
0 eyewitnesses, 0 motive, no murder weapon, nothing. And all these people that they said they had, they didn't.
We found 2 witnesses who actually felt like their testimony was manipulated. Barbara Jones told us she can't identify the car she saw or who was in it. Another witness, Jason McDonald, says a key part of his testimony was omitted. The part where he said he heard a shot and saw a car that did not belong to Sutton or his uncle. And then Tina Hartman shows up, a witness never interviewed, who identifies a new suspect, Lester Johnson, with a strong motive he's never even questioned. This all comes to light after Miller hires Nashville private detective Heather Cohen to reinvestigate the case. One of the most alarming aspects, the day they find Tommy Griffin's body by a creek, there is no evidence of the shotgun shells. Then, days later, detectives say they find 2 shotgun shells perfectly side by side at the crime scene. Here's another problem with the case. The prosecution needed Tommy Griffin to have been murdered on Friday. It had to be Friday to support the theory. 3 pathologists believe Griffin was murdered on Monday or Sunday because when Tommy Griffin's body was discovered, he's in full rigor mortis. In case you didn't know, bodies don't stay in rigor mortis that long. Nevertheless, Charles Harlan, as a witness for the prosecution, says Griffin died on Friday. Dr. Harlan ended up losing his medical license when the Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners concluded he had committed numerous acts of malpractice, fraud, deceit, and unprofessional conduct. This is the doctor who helps convict Gary Sutton in disagreement with multiple reputable doctors?
It was scientifically impossible because when they found Tommy Griffin's body on Monday, February 24th, his body was in full rigor mortis. And a human body only stays in rigor mortis for up to 36 hours. So there's no way that he had been murdered on Friday night.
The case is so shaky, a group of lawmakers and other elected officials have asked the governor for a complete review and meeting to discuss Sutton's case. State Senator Paige Wally.
I just want to make sure that if we're going to have someone pay that kind of price for a crime, that we ought to darn well be sure they're the ones that did it. And there seems to be enough evidence to me to warrant another look.
Meanwhile, Gary Sutton waits, finally hopeful again, not just waiting to die.
I literally got to a point, Dennis. I've got a family that loves me, that knows I didn't do this, and I finally reached a point of where if I'd kept asking them, they would have kept spending money. And I mean, they fought and fought and fought. And I literally reached a point, I said, look, y'all need to go in and live y'all's life and quit spending money, because I thought, wait, I just felt like I was banging my head against a wall.
All possible because of the unlikely return of Carolyn Miller. She moved on to a new life after Sutton's conviction and only returned when he had a temporary execution date. It made her want to talk to him. She ended up back in love with him.
I know he's innocent, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do and whatever I can do to prove his innocence, because Gary's been sitting on death row for 33 years for something he did absolutely not do.
There's no timetable on this. The governor can look at it when he has time. It does help that he has friends and old political allies that want him to look at it. We'll let you know. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.